It's important to emphasize that there's still a lot of information in this case that's yet to be disclosed. And I think the operative question is what the actual charge will be if Donald Trump's intel is correct, because that will dictate to a large extent how serious of a disturbance this is to Trump and what we're in for these next several weeks and next several months. And those possibilities really could run the spectrum from something like a relatively minor misdemeanor involving misrepresenting business records to something much more serious like a major contravention of campaign finance laws that would be prosecuted as a felony and technically could carry the possibility of prison time. But either way, if Trump is arrested and what he's saying is correct, then this does spell trouble for him legally. There's a saying that you can indict a ham sandwich in New York. So this case is unlikely to lose steam on its own.
Yeah, he's going to continue on. I've never heard that saying about the ham sandwich. Let's just go through the sort of the gamut of the legal challenges that he could be facing. You say that the indictment could run from the sort of misdemeanor to far more serious. And it's all based around this payment for hush money paid that Michael Cohen said, Trump's former advisor and fixer, paid to Stormy Daniels over that alleged affair and where that money came from, because Trump eventually reimbursed Michael Cohen for it.
Exactly. I mean, this is a case that's important to emphasize that's been going on for quite some time, several years. There's a lot of players involved, a lot of accusations that have been made. And it's just really important, I think, to emphasize that we don't know what those charges will be, because it could, as I said before, just involve something relatively minor like misrepresenting business documents. But if it actually was made in furtherance of a larger crime dealing with the campaign, that's where the severity becomes much more amped up. And that's where things like prison time start to get talked about. So it's just really unclear at the moment.
Would he still be arrested for the misrepresentation of documents? Would it still sort of involve, there's been talk of him being put in handcuffs, being fingerprinted, having a mugshot taken. Would that still happen if it was the lower end?
Well, I think that the charge for Republicans is that it would if this is a political vendetta and selective prosecution. And so a lot of this debate, I think, really does surround what the charge is going to be. Because what we hear from defenders of Donald Trump is, yes, this is something relatively minor. Maybe it would be charged as a misdemeanor. But if it were anyone else besides Donald Trump, it would probably be treated in a way that is much more quiet. But because it's Trump, because he's so high profile, because there's an accusation that this district attorney is liberal and maybe pursuing some type of political vendetta, they're just trying to make a show about it. That we just don't know. And so we'll see how that shakes out.
And of course, we saw the message that he posted on Truth Social, where he talks about fighting and taking back our country, or words to that effect. I mean, what impact do you think that will have? Because it's very similar language to that was used before the insurrection on Capitol Hill back in January the 6th.
You're absolutely right, Kamali. This could definitely play, I think, into Trump's hands politically. And Trump already is using this case to rev up the base. And his comments on Truth Social calling for protest and to take the country back are really just a harbinger of more to come. It's all part of Trump's repertoire, that this is a witch hunt, it's a political vendetta, it's overzealous prosecution by a radical district attorney, it's a George Soros-funded hit job. This is the kind of language that we're in for and that we're already hearing. It's very similar, as you suggested, to what we heard in the lead up to January 6th. It's also kind of reminiscent of impeachment 1.0, impeachment 2.0, the search of Mar-a-Lago. And of course, we know that when it comes to Trump's most committed base, it doesn't take much to get them to go onto the offensive. So he's going to sort of use this for all that it's worth.
Okay, I do appreciate your analysis this morning. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.